to the channel. So a little over a month ago, I made a video talking about sci-fi on my channel, what my plans were to do with sci-fi, what was I looking to read. I basically admitted that I should be reading more sci-fi, but then the problem was there were so many books to read in sci-fi. I had such a big hole in my kind of reading knowledge when it comes to the genre. Then more recently, I made a video about 25 sci-fi authors that I hadn't read, which makes up more than half of all the notable sci-fi authors that have written in the genre, which is quite embarrassing. But effectively, this is all culminating in this one video where I will decide what my sci-fi TBR looks like. What are the 10 next books I will read? And why does that differ from those previous videos? It's mostly because that didn't really allow for rereads. It didn't allow me to go back to sci-fi authors I've already read. It didn't allow me to include series. So these 10 books will constitute effectively the backbone of the sci-fi I will read for the rest of this year and in 2025. And I'm going to list them, the 10 books, in the order in which I will read them most likely. The first of those will be Black Destroyer by A.E. Van Vogt. Now, I haven't included the books that I am currently reading, so there are a couple of sci-fi reviews that will be on the channel before I read this. But Black Destroyer is one of the influences for the movie Alien, a favourite of mine. And it is a short story, effectively, that I have in this collection here. And I will probably slip that in around October, which will shortly be followed by a series that I've been meaning to get to for quite some time that was bought for me as a present. And that is the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown. The first book, Red Rising, isn't the longest. It's, for a modern book, it is less than 400 pages. And I'll look to get to that this year as well. One book I wouldn't want to leave too long, hopefully I will be able to get to it early in 2025 or the end of 2024, will be Man in the High Castle. I loved Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I've been recommended to go to this one next. I've got a nice hardback of it. So yeah, I'll be looking to get to that sooner rather than later. One book that I promised myself I would get to this year that I think has just fallen off of my TBR. I just don't think I've got enough time to quite squeeze it in. And that is Dune Messiah by Frank Herbert. It's been over a year since I read Dune and I just missed that universe. That book was so great. I've heard that Dune Messiah is a very worthy sequel, or some say ending to that novel. And I would really, really like to get to it. I have a beautiful special edition copy here, so it would be a shame to wait too much longer for that. Then I'll probably go back to the Red Rising universe for Golden Sun, the second book in the Red Rising series, slightly longer than the first book. I've heard that this is better than the first book in the series, and this is where a lot of people get hooked, so it'd be interesting to get to that. Next up is a book that I believe has been on a few of my kind of top TBR lists, and that is I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison. Will be in this, it's actually a novella that is part of this collection, one that I'm very eager to get to. Definitely, this will not slip off the TBR. I will read this next year, guaranteed. When, I'm not quite sure, but it is short enough and essential enough that it will definitely not slip off this list. I think the same will go for this book because it was in my 50 books to read before I turned 50, and that is Neuromancer by William Gibson, the kind of essential cyberpunk novel, so I've been told. One that comes very highly recommended. I'm really looking forward to this. Very, very high up on the list, this one. At that point, I will probably get back to Red Rising again. Morningstar, I don't want to leave too many months in between these books, probably 4 to 5 months a piece, just so I can stay in the series, kind of caught up with the characters and what have you. They are getting slightly longer. They're sneaking an extra kind of like 50 or so pages in each volume. I've noticed that some of the books after this will get really, really long. But yeah, certainly interested to get further in Red Rising. A classic that I really want to get to. I loved The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells, and I'd really like to read The Time Machine. Now, this was a real kind of, it was a kind of coin flip between this and War of the Worlds, but I'm going to go with The Time Machine. I just feel like it's a very essential sci-fi classic, one that I've been wanting to read for a very long time, so I will get to that later next year, I should think. And then before 2025 is out, I really must begin this series, and that is Book of the New Sun, and Shadow of the Torturer by Gene Wolfe will be the 10th sci-fi book on this TBR. Those are the 10 sci-fi books I really have kind of shoehorned into my TBR over the next kind of 15 to 18 months. Let me know, are you reading sci-fi? Has this inspired anyone out there to kind of pick up sci-fi that wasn't reading it already? Or maybe you're already into sci-fi and you've read a bunch of these, and you can tell me which ones of these 10 that I should really be looking forward to, and I'll catch you in the next video.